talk about the Warriors' second half here. They are minus 110, yes, no, to make the playoffs. Really interesting. BPI gives them a 73% chance. They are currently 9th in the West. Now, we should remember there's a new twist to the playoff hunt this year. The NBA has implemented a play-in tournament, so it's for the 7 through 10 will play in to get into those bottom 2 seeds. So the top 6 are in, and then the 7 through 10 play for the bottom 2 teams and in the standings. So it's interesting. And by the way, if you those futures tickets, you have to advance past the play-in tournament. Play-in tournament
top 18
doesn't mean you're in the playoffs. Right. It's not the postseason, even though it kind of is in a lot of ways. So here are the current standings. They're all jammed up between a few games. We know what the Trailblazers are doing without McCollum and Nurkic. Nuggets have been kind of a head-scratching start out of the gate, considering they went to the conference finals a year ago and have the talent. And then we see the step in those guys. So minus 110, straight pick 'em. Where would you go?
I bet them to make the playoffs, but I would wait. I would wait until after the first 3 games back because they're going to play the Clippers, the Jazz, and the Lakers. Let them get those games out of the way. Let the odds readjust if they lose a couple of them. Then bet them to make the playoffs. The Spurs are ahead of them right now. I see them dropping off. They're having a great season, 18-14, but the point differential is practically even, which is more indicative of a 5-win team or a 500 team, And they've got the second hardest schedule the rest of the way out with 40 games to play, which is tied for the most because they had the COVID shutdown. So I think they're going to drop off. But the key here with the Warriors is getting ahead of what they do at the trade deadline. They have that Minnesota Timberwolves pick. Now, if it falls in the top 3, which it has a good chance of doing, the Warriors don't get to use it this year. It is protected. Minnesota will keep it. But next year, that means it's completely unprotected, and that's going to be a valuable piece. I wouldn't be surprised if they went after a guy like Bradley Beal.
And use that chip
Exactly.
in a trade or so. Now, remember, beginning of the season, you said no because the inevitable Steph injury hasn't been injured. Do you think it's coming?
Could, but at 19 and 18, the way they're going and with what we're talking about right now, at those prices, based on what I see them doing at the deadline, yeah, I would play yes.
And his physical conditioning is much better this year, and that's obviously helped his stability.
I agree with Joe here. I think that's the way to lean on the Warriors right now. They haven't even played their best basketball yet. They're still an ascending team. Steph Curry is healthy. Draymond Green is playing his best ball of the year. And now they're getting James Wiseman involved and figuring out how to get him back after he had some time off. Guys like Andrew Wiggins and Kelly Oubre, after slow starts, have finally kind of found their niche on this team. Rather than forcing things, they're letting the game come to them a little more. And with Steph playing the way he is, of all these teams kind of jockeying in that 7 to 10 range, he's the best player of any individual on those 4 or 5 teams.
So I'm against you guys, sort of. I'm not betting the no, but I already have a position on under 37 wins. So I'm just not laying it on. It's basically, but if I had to and I had no position, I would go no. Just because there's so many other teams, there's a potential for injury, not just to him, but to some of the other guys. I mean, Weissman's, a rookie. He got hurt somehow.
Right.
So Draymond Green, I just think a lot's gone right for some of these guys. We saw what they could look like when they played the Lakers last Sunday, and it was just a beatdown. So I'm going to have to say no, but I could certainly see it happening.
It's a tough one. I mean, why it's priced at minus 110 both ways.
So dangerous. Let's switch teams. Look at the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm on the no with the Memphis Grizzlies. I think Ja Morant is going to be an outstanding player, but he just took a giant step back. And I've been impressed with teams like the Warriors and Mavericks and Spurs, who are better than I thought. I still believe in the Blazers. So if we're talking the Grizzlies to surpass both the Spurs and the Mavs, even with the tournament, I think they're too thin. They've been ravaged with injuries and the COVID as well. I just don't think that Morant's going to carry them to the playoffs, Ty.
Let me try and convince you of the other side here, because I like the price at plus 180 for the Grizzlies, a team I think can jump up over a team like the Spurs. They actually have a better point differential in San Antonio, Portland, Golden State, and Dallas. And that's with Jaren Jackson basically missing the entire season. He'll be back in the second half. And Ja Morant only playing 2/3 of that season. They have good metrics as well that you can bank on. They're 8th in defensive rating, and they're going to get a defensive stopper like Jackson back. They're top 5 in assist rate and assist-to-turnover ratio. They share the ball, and they don't hurt themselves with turnovers. So a lot of underlying metrics point to this team, I think, in the first half, just treading water and surviving because of all those COVID issues. Now they have the opportunity, if health is in order, in the second half to flourish.
I believe they're dead last in offensive efficiency, if I remember correctly. So either way, they need to turn that around. But Jackson will certainly help when he returns. And look, Morant, we've seen his ceiling.
Right.
If he can channel some of what he did last year, certainly impressive.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.